Good morning, guys. It is Thursday, December 20th, the day before the end of the world. And went and got some salt this morning for the apocalypse storm coming. God knows that won't be enough, but I won't be here to tell the story, so we're good. Anyway, as promised yesterday, I said we'd do a little wet sanding video and show you how I'm going to do these rockers. Got a bucket full of clean water, and I've got a half sheet of 400 and a half sheet of 600 wet or dry sandpaper. And I'm going to fold those in thirds, and I'm going to let those soak in the bucket while I talk to you guys and pull a little bit of this paper out of the way and let those get softened up. You don't want any hard edges on that paper. So we'll put you on the stand without further ado. Looks like we got some mega zoom going. Oh yeah. Alright. So I'm going to fold these guys up in thirds. That way I have something to hold on to. And dump those in the bucket and let them get softened up. Now normally, if we had a good flat panel surface, I'd have a block, but most of this is curved. The other thing I have, and I'll show you guys here, is I have one of these pads, 3M Fine. Norton makes them, whoever just happened to be what was on the shelf. And this is, I believe, equivalent to 320/400. And this one's actually a Norton, and I know you won't be able to read it, but this one's a 5/600 soft pad. And we'll leave those in the bucket to get nice and happy. I already had a piece of 400 in there soaking too, so we can start this little project right away. And I'm going to start on the cab corner right there. I did a little dry sanding just to see what I was going to end up with. Get my stool raised up here. And I've done a little blocking on this, but it's fairly straight. So I'm going to take this, I don't know if I want the pad yet. Where's that other piece of 400? Had a little piece of 400 in here. So can see it's all curled up and it's ready to go. I've also got a sponge right here. Since it's too cold outside, I can't be doing this outside and run water over it. So take the paper, see if you guys can see this or if I'm on mega zoom. Hold it between your thumb and your forefingers like that up on the corner and try and keep your fingers flat. Got several kind of compound angles here. We got it's going around here, and then it actually starts to taper down as it gets to the bottom. I probably should have matched this farther up because I got a tiny bit of a ridge here. Not too bad though. And if you hear any screeching or scratching, you need to stop. You got trash under your paper. And the objective is to take all the black dots off. I sprayed black guide coat on this the other day. So here in tropical Ohio, we're hitting like a balmy 30 degrees today, and later tonight we're supposed to end up with like 40, 50 mile an hour winds as that front pushes in. I know the south has some tornado warnings and all that, so hopefully everybody stays safe. Kind of got to be creative with how you do this, because there's just so many little areas. And I want to make sure I get all the sand scratches out. As far as this edge goes here, I'm going to roll back and forth over it, which will sort of flatten it out. But then we'll take the paper over at an angle and kind of do this number with it right here, kind of going down and pulling around, and that will sort of help with getting any flat spots that you put in it back off. Now I primed this on Monday. Yeah, I believe it was Monday. Obviously you guys probably just got the video with my uploading issues, but so it's had 4 days to sit, and this is the MP4 2K Matrix Lightning Primer direct to metal, and it's a 45-minute primer with 2 coats at 77 degrees. Well, we don't have 77 degrees in here. We did for the first, probably 2 hours of it, but after that it gets down to 50 in here at night, and I don't heat the shop at night, so I let it sit. I know the primer's kicked properly, it's just a matter of shrinkage. Nobody likes shrinkage, because then your sand scratches start to show up again. That's nice. Now I see a couple spots where I just burnt through it back to bare metal, so I'm going to have to do some touch-up priming for sure. I had a weird high spot, and remember these cap corners didn't fit exactly the way I'd hoped they would, and I kept chasing high spots everywhere just because of the way I installed them. But all in all, not too bad. Bore you guys to tears here, but we'll kind of give you an idea of what this should look like. finished with it. Okay, of course I said I found a couple of high spots here. There's one right there. I'm not going to worry about it. I will reprime over that and scuff lightly and make sure my edge is blended at the top. This is kind of what you want to see. You don't want to feel a transition. That edge should be fuzzy, and actually it's going to be even fuzzier than that when I get done with it, because I'm going to take the 600 grit over it. I see it even broke through the paint right there. I knew I was going to have to reprime them, but same thing up there. You can see my sand scratches are gray. They're filled with primer. I just happened to sand it a little farther. This area in the back is actually very wavy, even up in here. I started blocking it dry before, and I wasn't even touching this area right in here. So, and my cab corner stops here. So that could be a little warpage, but if you remember this side, my cab corner came around the front here and then went down at an angle way down here. So warpage up here may or may not be something that I did to it. But again, it's on the back side. I'm not sweating it. So we're going to block this area out, and I may move to this next, just because that back is going to be quite a tedious process. So I'll put you guys back on the stand and sand for a couple minutes and shoot the BS, and we'll get this one uploaded for you. Let's see how I do this. Just a lot of little fiddly areas to try and get into. Just very, very tight in here. I'm gonna try my sanding sponge. This, I'm not worried about blocking it straight. I'm worried about getting all my sand scratches out of it. And there was some, I don't know what you want to call it, I guess from the stamping process, there was some strange wavy areas in it. I tried to get some of that out by priming it pretty good. If it all doesn't come out, I mean, it's not going to be perfect. This truck is not going to SEMA, so I'm not sweating it. One nice thing about these sponges, it helps give you a little more even pressure when you're sanding in these little confined areas, so that you don't get finger marks in them. And I can already tell on some of these areas I didn't get enough, but again, I was thinking in the beginning I was going to be doing a reprime on these. All things considered, the way my gun was acting when I sprayed this, because the vent in the lid plugged up, it laid out pretty darn smooth. I'm happy with it. You know, it doesn't have a rough texture to it. So you're not sanding a bunch of orange peel out to begin with. Going for a little while this morning, but I'm conserving fuel there. I don't need to be pouring fuel to wet sand. And it's not too bad in here. It's, oh, what's the thermometer say? It says 55, so that's not too bad. And I had a question on one of the videos about why I did a wipe of Duraglass over these plug welds that were up here and why I didn't just etch and prime and paint them. And I don't know what I was thinking either. There were some grooves in them and a couple of them had a few pits in them. So I thought a wipe of Duraglass would be the smart thing. Well, it never cured and I ended up wire wheeling it right back out. So I went back to plan A, which was prime, seal, and paint. See this or not. Take it off the stand and show you a little bit here. I don't know if you can see the black specks. That's my guide coat, and you can see as we get back to areas like that, the black specks are gone, which means I've sanded the imperfections out of it. And that's what you want to do. I mean, you see all of these areas where the latch goes, and there's actually a rubber, I don't want to call it a stopper, but a flat rubber that goes in here so the door jamb doesn't get torn up from the edge of the door rubber. So we'll keep working on this. We're already at 17 minutes of boring you guys to tears. So I'm going to keep on this and I'll bring you back hopefully when I get this wrapped up. So have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Alright guys, I started this at about, I believe 10:30 is when the first video clip started. And it is now 25 after 12 and I also ate my lunch. So my wet sanding is done. As I said before, we got some bare metal spots that poke through, and I'm not sure if I'm going to re-prime the whole thing. I think I'm going to spot prime all this. My edges blended in real nice on this side. I actually got down to filler there, which I'm not too happy about. But a quickie spot prime should take care of this. I got to go around it with the blowgun and get all the water out of it, and I'm going to bag the truck. But this side blended in real nice. This side actually, the cab corner went a lot better blocking that out than the other side. Looks like I got a little bit more work to do there, but I'll do that when I hit it with 600. So I think I'm going to go ahead and spot prime all these spots after I bag it up. And I think I said before, we're going to paint that whole pillar all the way up to the top and back mask along the window here and scuff it real good because I had to do a repair before. You can see the shitty, maybe you can't. Yeah, you can see that blend line. Doesn't that look bad? So at any rate, that's where we're at. But feathered out real nice, and I just took red Scotch Brite and sanded up in the jambs there with water to try and blend those primer areas in around the hinge, because it's just too damn tight and it's very uneven in there with the seam sealer and the wrinkly cab corner and everything else. But I wanted to make sure it did get scuffed, and the same thing underneath, which you can't really tell. You can see where I broke through it because I was thin on my primer. But that's about it. I mean, that's all it really needs. I suppose I could go over this with some epoxy and just call it done, and either wet sand the edges off or take some blending solvent or some hot reducer and just melt those off and give them a little scuff before I go ahead and shoot it, which is not going to be today, but well, I'll do the priming today because it's early yet, and I want to get things cleaned up in here, and I got water all over the floor, of course. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing bagged up, and maybe I'll make a video of that for you guys. So excuse me, that's where I'm at for now, and it's come along good. So thanks for all the comments, and Thanks for subscribing, and we'll talk to you in a little bit.